Hello, everyone. My name is Quinn. This is my MMA betting podcast. I am joined today by Mike of narcocop MMA. How you doing, Mike?
Good. How are you, man? Thanks
I'm
for having
doing.
me, Quinn.
Yeah, it's good having you on. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I'm excited for this fight card. I'm ready to break down these fights. That's for sure. So yeah, we're gonna get right into it here. We For the first fight of the night, we have Jillian Robertson taking on Priscilla Cachoeira. I'll start here. I like Jillian here. I don't have a bet on it, but I do think that she takes care of Priscilla here. Priscilla does not defend takedowns well. She's not a good grappler at all. Jillian lands almost 3 takedowns per 15 minutes. Jillian's a specialist on the mat. Um, she's either kill or be killed, pretty much. I was kind of hoping that they would fuck up the underlines here, but they really didn't, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's a binary fight. Jillian should be able to get this fight to the mat. She should be able to pass her guard and um, sub her or control her, get some ground and pound. But if Priscilla can get back up, she's probably has a good chance of knocking Jillian out. That last fight, Priscilla had, she was pretty much getting dominated by Gina. But she showed some improvements in the grappling. She was able to regard a couple of times, which I thought was pretty impressive compared to what I had seen from her in the past. And so yeah, I don't know. I like Jillian here to get the submission finish. What do you think?
Yeah, for me, it's just a stay away spot. I don't, trust Jillian at minus, 400 or
Yeah,
whatever the hell she is right now. She's 410 in some spots, which, yeah, I do see her path. Obviously, her path is grappling. She's going to get her wrestling because Cachoeira just has bad takedown defense.
hmm
The one thing is Cachoeira is tough. You see it in the Mazzani fight. She was kind of getting beat up there in the first round. Weathered the storm and on the feet, she hits hard.
Does it
She's
hard.
Yeah, and she's not really like as far as striking, like she's not a polished striker or and even a good striker. She's just very powerful, man.
Yep,
And she when she hits people, she just hurts them. And you saw that in Mazzani fight. I mean, Mazzani was dead tired in that fight, honestly.
she
And that
killed her
was
though.
yeah, I mean, part of the problem was that Mazzani was just like really dead tired.
Yeah, Mazzani was gassed.
She was gassed, and then Cachoeira hits hard. So for me, it's a stay away spot. Honestly, like if I was to bet anything here, and it's women's MMA, but the under is not terrible. I just at a juiced under women's fight, minus 150 range. I think this fight is going to end one way or another, but it's a stay away for me. I don't have a bet on this fight. If I was to
Yeah,
if I
sorry.
was
Go.
to pick anybody, I'd probably pick the dog. It's a dog or pass for me. I'm not laying minus 400 with Jillian.
Yeah. I'm not interested in laying the price either. Um, but I do think Jillian gets the job done here. We move on. We have a fun fight coming up here. We have Randy Costa taking on Tony Kelly. I have some action on Kelly. I played Kelly inside the distance, plus 375. I think the path here is to live bet Kelly after the first round. I think that I believe Giannis was like plus 400 after the first round when they fought. I don't really see any point in betting him live. Costa. We all know Costa's win condition, and he's gonna land strikes. He's gonna walk him down. He's gonna pump out volume. He's gonna try and kill him, just like he always does. But Tony Kelly, he's very, very durable. He's a good striker himself. He's good in the clinch. He's got good elbows. Purple belt in jiu-jitsu. He's probably the better grappler here. We've seen Costa gas out and get sub before. I think I don't know why Costa's not taking like a year off. He could be very, very good if he worked on his cardio and his wrestling and his grappling. But he's not doing that. He's taking fights every 6 months. Yeah, he's an exciting fighter, but I really do think that he could hang with the top of the bantamweight division if he improved those little aspects of his game. Um, but I like Kelly here. I'm not a huge fan of his drop to 135, but I do think that he can weather the storm, take over in either TKO, um, Costa here or sub him late. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Again, I don't have a bet on these two guys here. I like Randy Costa's hands. Really, really good jab. You saw it in the Giannis fight. It was just fucking
Looked
busting up
really good.
Giannis. I mean, really, really good, powerful jab. He's a long guy. Has a really good reach for this division. You know, I think he has a lot of power in his hands too. To be honest, the problem with him is I don't even think it's yes, it has something to do with cardio, but it also has something to do with pace, man. This guy does not know
Yeah.
how to pace himself. He's throwing
Yeah.
everything in the kitchen sink in the first round and spamming these high kicks, spamming a ton of kicks. That's just gonna get you tired, man. Kicking is not easy.
Yeah.
He's throwing them all very, very hard. And then you see all his overhand rights and stuff like that. They're all thrown with a lot of power. So you look at the Giannis fight. This guy threw, I believe, over 100 and some punches in the first fucking round, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get tired if you're doing that, and especially when a guy like Giannis that comes forward in that second round and starts pressuring you, you're just gonna die. And eventually he died. And in this Tony Kelly spot, obviously Tony Kelly's not Giannis. I don't think he's anywhere near Giannis. But one thing that you mentioned is he's very durable. He's a tough guy. Um, and to me, if he weathers the storm early, I think that the good play here is probably a live bet on Kelly
Yeah.
because I think he loses that first round a really, really high
Yep.
percentage. So I think if you like Kelly, I think you kind of like sit back and wait for a better number than what you're going to get right now after that first round. Or you can also play like, Tony Kelly round 2 or round 3, because I think if he gets out of that first round, it's just the way that Costa fights, man. Unless he completely changes this fight, he's
Yeah,
going to
he's
be
not even
tired.
getting to the third round. He's getting finished in the second.
And
Like
the
that's
main
how much
reason,
energy he's exerting.
yeah, and the main reason is part of what he throws in that first round. You go back and you look like even the Brandon Davis fight, right? This guy is just throwing a lot of volume. 70. He threw 70 punches
Mm-hmm.
in the fucking first round. And this is not counting kicks, right? So he's throwing 70 punches. Like that's a lot of fucking volume. So this guy just throwing too much volume and not controlling the pace, which is eventually going to hurt you. And it might hurt him again if he doesn't stop Tony Kelly early, to be honest. So for me, it's a stay away or a live bet on Tony Kelly after round 1.
Yep. I completely agree with you. We're both in agreement on the live bet. We move on. Um sorry, 1 second. We have Ryan Hall taking on Derek Minner. I like Hall here. I've heard some like pretty interesting takes this week on this fight that I really don't agree with. I personally think Hall is the better striker here. I think he has more power. I don't think Minner really has any dynamic to his striking besides to get close to you and get the fight to the mat. Um, Hall's besides his fight versus who did he fight on the Saul Rogers um on the what was that? The
Who's the
Ultimate
Ultimate
Fighter. Yeah,
Fighter?
the Ultimate Fighter. He's Hall's only been, I know Hall's level opponents have been really bad, but he's only been outpaced the distance by one guy. And that's Tapiria, and we all know how that fight played out. I think his striking's underrated. I think he's going to kick Minner in the face quite a bit. I think Minner's going to struggle with the range. Um, I and I heard something today, and I just like if Hall subs Minner, it's a meme. Like I don't agree with that at all. Hall is one of the best pure jiu-jitsu players in the division. Like the guy is he's a wizard for a reason on the mat. He pretty much invented that 50-50 position. And Minner has a lot of losses by sub. And I this is Minner's bread and butter. Minner's bread and butter is to grapple. He's going to engage the grappling. I could see him going for guillotine, losing position, and Hall getting on top of him and passing him. I could see him going for a stupid leg lock entanglement and getting subbed. Minner's gas tank is absolutely awful. Hall has a pretty decent gas tank. He knows how to pace himself well. He's a very, very smart um, fighter, except for the last fight. I don't know what he was doing with Topuria. But yeah, I think the line is pretty justified here. I think Minner is I think it's a bad matchup for Minner. Minner's going to engage the grappling, and that's not something that you do against Ryan Hall. So yeah, I think Hall subs him. What do you think?
Um, I I just see violence in this fight one way or another. I kind of disagree with you when you say, Hall's the better striker. I just don't like his striking, man. He's really awkward. I know he has decent kicks, but I mean, as far as hands, the guy sucks. I mean, his striking sucks, and we saw it last fight. I mean, the other thing with Hall that I don't like is, for me, it just feels like he kind of, like, when you put it on him, he's like, he quits, bro.
Yeah.
And I saw it. I know it's Topuria, but he just fucking quit last fight. But Topuria, to his credit, I mean, hits very hard, very, young stud. That's not what fucking Derek Minner is
No.
whatsoever. But what I do like I said, I like violence one way or another. The way Minner fights, man, it's just violence. So under 2.5, I got in early at -120.
That's a great line.
I put 2.4 units on it. I
Yeah.
think I think this fight is going to end one way or another. Um, I also don't hate, like, Minner round one, man, because if Minner's going to win, it's probably round one. Like, go back and
Yeah.
look at all his wins, where they're all fucking round one wins, one after another, and you're gonna give me plus 800, on a guy, or even plus 900 in some spots in a guy's most likely win condition, which is going to be in round one. Like, I mean, that's a good price. Like, I would never bet Minner straight here, because I think if he starts getting into this fucking grappling match with Hall's probably going to snatch a leg or something, and make this guy tap out. So um, I honestly won't bet Hall. I don't see how I can lay -200 with this guy, because I think he's very reliant on a submission. I know he might be able to win a decision, but I just don't like the guy overall in general. So I'm not willing to bet, lay -200 on a guy like him. But yeah, under 2.5 for me is the play. So I don't want to pick a side.
Man, Minner has some bad losses.
Oh yeah.
Lost to Luke Sanders, Bravo choked by Jesse Arnett,
Oh yeah. He's had
getting
he's had
subbed by
terrible.
Jordan Griffin.
You know what though? He's
That's bad.
go back and watch the Dawson fight. Like, he had Dawson in trouble
He
early,
did
right?
have Dawson in
So,
trouble, yeah.
like, this guy's dangerous. That's all I'm saying is, and Dawson is very good, very, very
Dawson is
good
very good,
grappler,
yes.
very good grappler, and he had Dawson in trouble early. So, like, can he get Hall out of there early? I think it's possible. And plus 900 is a big line for a guy that just basically wins in round one.
I mean, you're betting, yeah, that's, you're betting his win condition, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with
So
that. Yeah,
yeah,
plus 900.
I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know what the under is at now. Under 2.5.
minus 160, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of high now. I mean, Betway has it at -125,
Yeah,
which,
Betway has all of Betway's props are very, like, I don't know,
yeah,
they haven't
that's
caught up
pretty
at all.
incredible if you can get
Yeah,
it at -125. I
yeah,
mean,
that's a great line.
I'd jump on it.
Yeah, I would too. You
Yeah.
got a great line. Like, you got a
Yeah, yeah,
really
I
good
got
line.
in early. It was on Bet Online. I got it at -120.
It's awesome. All right, man. We move on. We have Alex Perez taking on Matt Schnell. You got anything here?
Yeah, actually, one of my favorite spots on the card. I like Alex Perez inside the distance, plus 175. I have it for 2 units. I just think one thing that I go back and watch is Alex Perez's kicking game is elite,
Yep.
dude. He's got really,
Very
really
good
good
kicks.
kicking game, very powerful. The other thing you have to go back and look is Schnell just eats a fucking lot of kicks. Like, go back and I was looking at the stats and some of his fights. Like, this guy eats a lot of kicks, and he's gonna eat a ton of kicks from Perez. He's not gonna like them. I just think Perez is the better striker. As far as grappling, I think it's very close. Perez is just a really, really good fighter, in my opinion. Like, he lost to Figueiredo on
Yeah.
short notice, where it's a short notice fight. And he kind of, like, went for the takedown and jumped kind of in the guillotine, but, like, he was doing well in stand up. Like, he landed
Mm-hmm.
some vicious kicks on Figueiredo, and I just think this is such a huge step down for him, dude. Like, a really, really big step down, and I think he's been out for a little while, almost a year, and I just think he's the better fighter overall here, a much, much better fighter. And I don't think there's anything that Schnell's going to give him that he hasn't seen. So Alex Perez, inside the distance, this guy finishes a lot of guys too. You go back and look. I mean, he's got arm triangle over Espinoza. Leg kick Formiga out of the building. Um, stopped Jose Torres, who I like personally, a young prospect.
Do you?
Jordi Torres. Yeah, I mean, I like the guy.
Oh man.
Not anymore. Like he's not the same, but when he was coming up, he was pretty good, and then just like started getting fat for whatever reason. I don't know what the deal is, but yeah, I mean,
I remember he had a lot of hype, and then who KO'd themselves?
who
Jared
KO'd him?
Brooks. Jared Brooks. Do you remember
Oh,
that
Jared
fight?
Brooks. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I mean, Alex Perez is a stud, man. He's a really good fighter. He's a level or two above Schnell. So, plus 175 ITD. I think he's gonna finish this fight.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I have nothing on the fight, but I've always said that Perez is like one of the dark horses in the division. His loss to Benavidez was pretty meme. That was a really weird clash of heads. Um, I don't really hold that loss against him at all. Yeah, like you said, Perez has very, very good leg kicks. Chanel's very kickable. I do not like Chanel's chin. There's this weird narrative that, Chanel's taken punches his last two fights that his chin has resurged. I don't think that is the case at all. He's, in my opinion, always been a little chinny here. And Perez throws heat. He's got good pressure. He's got decent boxing. I know Chanel has good boxing too. It could be close on the feet for a little bit, but I do think that the leg kicks are going to have an impact here quite a bit. And I also, Perez, he's a damn good wrestler. And Chanel, he loves to accept a takedown. He loves to play guard. And Chanel's not a bad grappler. He's not a bad guard player at all. But I don't think he's gonna be subbing Perez from full guard. I think if Perez wanted to, he could wrestle him and control him very, very easily to justify the price. I was kind of eyeing the inside of distance prop, but I haven't played it yet. But yeah, I've always been high on Perez, and I'm not that high on Schnell. Like I do think Schnell has talent. He's a well-rounded fighter. It's just his weaknesses, his chin. And until I see it improved, this might be the fight. Then maybe I'll come back around to him. But yeah, I like Perez. I think he gets the job done here inside the distance. I'm interested to hear your take on this next fight. We have Miranda Maverick taking on Aaron Blanchfield. What do you got?
I don't have anyone in this fight. I know a lot of people are on Aaron Blanchfield, from what I've been reading at plus monies, saying she's a good prospect. I agree. She's a good prospect. Her hands are getting a little better. We know her grappling is really good. But in women's MMA, and this is kind of what I've been looking at more and more, like, the girl that's stronger, that's more physical, usually like wins. It's just like that for a lot of, when girls are kind of even, the stronger, more, the girl that puts her will in there. And I think Miranda Maverick is the stronger girl here. But like, her striking is not really good. Like Maverick is just goes forward, is strong, very, very strong, has good grappling, good takedowns when she wants them, but nothing she does is like great, right? She's good, but not great. And Aaron Blanchfield is great when it comes to the ground game, but man, her hands and her head does not fucking move. You go back and look at that last fight against Sarah Alpar. Alpar landed some big shots on her. Like she does not move her head whatsoever, man. And her striking is fine. She's coming forward, she's throwing punches, but she's eating punches too. And she just her defense is very, very bad when it comes to striking. So, Maverick kind of hits hard. She's a bigger, thicker girl. I think she's going to be the stronger girl here. And if Blanchfield wants to grapple, I don't think it's going to be easy to take Miranda Maverick down. So for me, it's a stay away. I just, I think both girls, I think the line is about fair. So I'm staying away from this fight, honestly.
So I do like Blanchfield. I played her submission prop at plus 1400, pretty small. I have a justification for it. People have been giving me shit about it all week. Miranda Maverick makes a lot of mistakes on the mat, and she still has yet to show me that she can defend a body lock takedown. Like she gives up the double unders like very, very easily. Barber was able to get the double unders on her in the second and third round and transition to the back very, very easily, like way too easily for my liking. Like, Maverick likes the whizzer and using physicality to try and buck off. That's not how you need to be defending those takedowns. You need to be grabbing underhooks. You need to be repositioning off of the cage. That is how you defend. You do not defend by physicality and using a whizzer. Jillian Robertson, not a physical girl at all. Not physical for the division at all. Miranda Maverick, much stronger than her. She was able to grab the body lock multiple times. That's how she was able to win that second round. She grabbed the body lock, did the inside trip takedown, and took her back and won the second round. She almost won the third round too. And that's a concern for me. That's like, I don't know how many years apart they were. A couple years apart, the fights maybe. And if how are you not making that improvement? Like, how are your coaches not seeing that on the tape? Maybe they've seen it now. I don't know. I know that Blanchfield has a good body lock takedown. I know that she's good on the back. I know she will put in hooks. I know that unlike Jillian Robertson, she will ground and pound and to open up the neck. I know that she will transition. I know that she will take the mount. I know that she will hold the arm triangle. We've seen it. She's a black belt under Daniel Gracie. She trains with some very, very high level black belts. She also competes in some very, very high level black belt competitions. I like her grappling a lot. There's a concern on the feet. I do think Maverick wins on the feet. Would I be surprised if Blanchfield took the shots and out-volumed her? No, Blanchfield, walks it down and she throws. I'm interested to see who's going to put who on the back foot here. I believe Miranda Maverick's going to. But who knows? I don't know.
I think Blanchfield might put her on the back foot just because
I think that's good for her to put her on the back foot.
She's very aggressive.
Yes.
But like I said, like she's open for counters a lot, man. And
she's open for counters. She doesn't move her head. That is definitely a concern.
Whatsoever. And I know if she probably grapples very heavy, that's her path. But she's falling in love with striking lately. I don't know, against Alpar, she was striking a ton. So
she was striking a ton. And that is a concern, but I do think that we're going to see grappling here. I think that her coaches have done some good work in the gym, it seems. So yeah, I like Blanchfield here. I was going to play her money line, but it dropped all the way down to plus 105. I think if you got plus 150, that's a pretty decent line, but I'm not interested in playing it at plus 105. I'd rather just take a live line. But yeah, I like her sub prop. I think that's pretty off. But yeah, this is going to tell us exactly where Blanchfield is, and this is going to tell us where Maverick is. So that's
what's crazy is fucking Maverick's line is shorter for submission.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's fucking wild.
Much shorter.
What the fuck?
I just think the physicality has something to do with it. I don't know.
Could.
That's my
guess. That plays a lot in women's MMA.
I mean, she's a brown belt. She's not like a slouch.
No, she's not.
Maverick is a brown belt, so she's not a slouch on the ground. So, but
you can't be giving your back to a high-level black belt on the mat if you're going to move up in the division. Like that's a part of your game you need to fix. Like those are there's certain things that I look at when it comes to like grappling and stuff like that. Can you defend underhooks? Like, do you understand the concept of defending underhooks? Like, that's a huge thing for me. Like, this is a huge thing, and like seeing her not being able to do that, that's just a big red flag in my opinion.
I mean, she's young. They're both young.
They're both young. Yeah. Improvements to be made. We move on. We've got Andre Muniz taking on Eric Anders. I have Anders here. I played him for one unit. I don't have my I guess I can pull up my bet MMA. I played him for one unit. I think I got like plus 120 or something like that. Yeah, I like Anders here. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter here. I don't trust Muniz to be able to sub him. Anders is a brown belt. He's a very good he's a very competent grappler in my opinion. Like I like his grappling a lot. He's a decent wrestler, offensive wrestler. I'm not a huge fan of his defensive wrestling. The Stewart fight kind of worried me, so I do think Muniz can land takedowns, but I do think he's going to be fine. I don't like Muniz's gas tank. I do think Anders hits harder. I think he's more technical on the feet. I think he has a way better gas tank. And I think down the stretch he's gonna look to pull away here. I think Muniz, he obviously needs to grapple and try and finish him. Maybe he can stay on top here and ride out top time. But I like the way Anders grapples. I like the way he defensively grapples. I think he's going to make Muniz work here. I think you could make a solid case for having him be minus 130, minus 140 here. So I also don't mind goes the distance. Last time I saw it, it was plus 190. I do think if it gets out of the first round, it has high potential for that. I saw some people playing the over 1.5. I don't hate that at all as well. But I do think that Muniz is, I think how do I want to say this? His win condition comes directly in the first round. So I do think after the first round goes the distance is much more live. So yeah, I have Anders here. What do you got?
Yeah, similar to you, I have Anders plus 125. I also like actually Anders by decision at plus 390.
Yeah.
Anders is not, he has some power. I'm not going to say, but he's kind of low volume. Was kind of a turnoff last fight, to be honest. That I know it was at 205, but it's a big turnoff. Just like cage pushing, a bunch of not doing anything against Stewart. It was a terrible look on both sides.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really impressed. I mean, compared to the first fight, I mean, they were swinging for the fucking fence.
Oh, they were yeah.
And then now all of a sudden they're just laying on the cage, like not doing anything, dude. Like literally not doing anything. And Stewart, like you mentioned, landed some takedowns, which is kind of worrisome. But the one thing I will say, in his whole career, Anders has been very, very hard to control.
Yeah.
He gets up,
work.
He doesn't get controlled. He knows what he's doing on the ground. The other thing I will say, he's going to have the athleticism advantage, a big athleticism advantage.
Huge.
Munoz was fucking getting destroyed by Arroyo early on in that fight on the feet. Also, the one thing I did notice with Munoz is he loses position a lot because he's always going for submission. So he lost position like 2 or 3 different times against Arroyo where he got reversed. I think it could happen here if he does.
Anders will pound his face in.
Yeah, and
he will punch.
I just hope Anders doesn't stick with the grappling because I think Munoz is still dangerous off his back. So I think a stand-up is the way to go with this guy. He doesn't have really good stand-up. I think Anders can just push him back and land some, punches. His straight left is nice. He does have some power again.
Yeah.
And Munoz, another thing I want to mention is all his losses have been by KO. So it's not something I'm like very happy to put some money on, the fact that, Anders wins by decision, because I know he does have power and Munoz gets knocked out a lot. But, I just think the low volume, some of the grappling that might happen, and stuff like that. I'm going to take a poke on Anders by decision at plus 390 and then Anders straight at plus 125. Another thing I want to look at, because I'm looking at this in different levels, I think Anders round 3 is not bad.
What's that? Oh, that got. Oh, that's not one. Yeah, I mean, plus 1,200, plus 1,400 some spots.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, that's it.
Okay, yeah, we're both in agreement. We both like Anders here. We got an interesting matchup here. We have Jordan Wright taking on Bruno Silva. I don't have much interest in this fight.
I have a lot of interest in this fight.
Do you? Okay, I'll let you talk to them.
I actually have a really big bet on fight doesn't start round 3.
Ooh.
Minus 182. I got 5 units on it. I just think this fight does not get to round 3, dude. Like the way Jordan Wright fights, the way Bruno Silva fights, one of these fucking guys, most likely Jordan Wright, because I think the guy sucks still.
Guy's terrible.
I think he's gonna get knocked out. Silva showed really a lot of toughness, a lot of grit last fight. Like got up from multiple takedowns, was controlled a lot, but the guy kept fighting, fight. And he carries his power late, man. This guy, I just think he's gonna fucking destroy Wright, to be honest. But And the safer route for
Yep.
me is just in case Wright, because Wright is explosive. So fight doesn't start round 3. Minus 182 is on FanDuel. Everywhere else is like fucking 300 and stuff like that. So if anybody's listening and they have FanDuel, I mean, that's a really, really good price that you're getting at let me see what it is now. Oh shit. Oh yeah, it's still there. Minus 182. It's
Not
minus
bad.
it's minus 330 on DraftKings. So
It's not bad. Yeah, I was looking at Silva KO round 1 and round 2 props. Um, uh, wish the line was a little bit wider, but um, round 2 plus 400, that's not too bad. Yeah, I agree. I think Wright gets killed here. I don't know why he's in the UFC at all. I think he's more of a fan favorite than he's an actual talent. I like Bruno Silva. I think he has a lot of potential in the UFC. He's decently well rounded. He's very, very tough. I thought it was super weird that he got his black belt after getting dominated by Andrew Sanchez um, for the better part of 3 rounds of that fight before getting the knockout. That kind of cracked me up. But he's a decently well-rounded guy. He's got power. He's going to come forward. He's going to land bombs. There's a pretty easy blueprint with beating Wright here, in my opinion. And until Wright shows that he can like move till his footwork gets better to where he can get, god damn it, why am I mind blanking what I'm trying to say? Um until Wright can deal with pressure, like there's no way you can bet him. There's absolutely no way you can bet him in my opinion. So especially against a guy like Bruno Silva. So yeah, I don't have a play on it. Like I said, I was looking at those props, but yeah, I like Silva here. So we move on. We've got a Augusta Sakai taking on Tai Tuivasa. I'll start here. I've got quite a bit on this fight. I've got 1.5 units on Sakai here at minus 110. Might even add more to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't really get this line. I don't. There's this weird narrative going around that there's just this like big career uh resurgence from Ty. I don't really think so, to be honest with you. I think he sucks. I think he's kind of always sucked. The Greg Hardy fight, that was impressive. I was on Greg Hardy. But Hardy couldn't deal with the leg kicks and he was firefighting him in the pocket. You know, I don't think that's going to work on Sakai here. I think Sakai is the better striker at range. I think he's better in the clinch. I think he's a lot more dynamic. I don't think the leg kicks are going to impact him as much because he switches stances. He throws a lot of feints. He's gonna give Ty a lot of looks, and Ty was struggling with the boxing and the movement and footwork. Um, of Junior Dos Santos, and I'm not trying to compare Sakai to him, but I do see similarities in what Sakai can do to him that can frustrate Ty. And I do think that Sakai has a better gas tank. We've seen Ty slow down before, and Sakai's not too far away from going. He went 4 hard rounds out kickboxing Alistair Overeem. Like that's pretty impressive. Overeem had to land takedowns. He had to ground and pound him to win. And he didn't go out cold from that. So there's this other narrative. Oh, Sakai's chin is shit now. Blah blah blah. He just went and fought Roz, who's one of the hardest hitters in the division. But in my opinion, that doesn't mean that his chin is shit. So yeah, I think this line's weird. I also have 1 unit on the over 1.5. I believe I got minus 140 there. I think, after the first round, Ty's gonna slow down. I don't really think Ty has that much power. I don't really think Sakai's a very big heavy hitter at all. So yeah, I thought that line was really weird. So yeah, I hit that. I think Sakai's gonna win this pretty easily, in my opinion. What do you think?
yeah, I agree with you. I have a bet on Sakai at minus 105 for 2 units. I just think he has a lot more volume here. He's the better striker at range.
It's a
Better.
weird line, right?
What is that?
It's a weird line.
Yeah, to me it is kind of weird line. I had, for me, I had Sakai at like the minus 160 range, 170 range. So I'm happy to take minus 105 and somewhere in that range. And the line hasn't even been moving, to be
Hasn't moved
honest.
at all.
It's been like this like
People
for the
love
whole
Ty.
week.
They love Ty.
Um, I don't know what's going on, but the one thing I will say is Tuivasa has really, really good leg kicks and very, very heavy leg kicks. So Sakai does kind of get hit there. Not too much, but I'm a little bit worried about that. But and also I will say is Tuivasa hits very, very hard. So I think, like you said, the first round's going to be a little sketchy. Um, the other thing I do want to mention is in that Hardy fight, Tuivasa was hurt really bad. He was doing the chicken dance, and then while he was doing that, Hardy went in for the kill, and he took, I think it was a left hook, and just put him out cold. But he was hurt really bad himself, so Hardy hurt him pretty bad. Um, Honestly, I think Sakai can probably get him out of there, like in the second or third. But
As long as it's past 7.5 minutes, we're
yeah, yeah,
good.
yeah. For me, I just have Sakai minus 105, 2 units. I think he's just a better fighter.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. 100%. Um, so we move on here. We've got Pedro Munoz taking on Dominic Cruz. What do you think here?
Um, I actually like Pedro Munoz here at minus 115. Dominic Cruz is a legend. The guy is, very awkward, very hard to fight because he's constantly switching stances, throwing punches from all kinds of weird angles. A lot of kicks, very unorthodox fighter, right? So very hard to solve. And now we're fighting, and one thing that is important here, it's a bigger ring, so it
Mhm.
allows for Dominic Cruz to do all his movements and the shit that he usually does. But I think Pedro Munoz's kicking game is going to be good for him here. I think he's going to land those kicks. I mean, they're really, really devastating. And we do know that Dominic Cruz has bad knees.
Mhm.
So I think the more powerful guy here is Munoz. I also saw, in that fight against Casey Kenny, in a very, very close fight. I mean, I think you could have gone either way in that fight. Dominic Cruz happened to get the split, but I think Casey Kenny had a lot of success in landing on Dominic Cruz. And I think, Munoz, I wouldn't say he's the better striker than Kenny, but I think he's more powerful. I think he uses his leg kicks a lot better than Casey Kenny would. And so for me, I just think, the young, hungry guy compared, and I don't want to say like young because he's 35, but young in fighting years, I want to say. That's what I mean when I say young, because I think Cruz has a lot of miles on him, dude.
Yep.
And I think, going back and looking at the loss, Munoz against, Aldo, is it that bad of a loss? Like going 3 rounds with Aldo, who just like pretty much destroyed Rob Font in 5. So I think Pedro Munoz, even in that Aldo fight, I think you give him 2 more rounds, he might make Aldo fold because Pedro Munoz is very
Mhm.
powerful leg kicks, unbelievable cardio,
Yep.
very good takedown defense, very good jiu-jitsu. So like Dominic Cruz, he doesn't really throw hard. Like I honestly, I know I could see him winning off just volume, but I think the pressure and the pace and everything is going to get to him because I think even in the Kenny fight, he was really tired in the third, even though he won that third, and it was a close third. But I think at this age now, he's starting to slow down. It's just not the same Dominic Cruz anymore, to be honest. And so I'm going to take Munoz minus 115. I like him in this spot.
Yeah. I have no bet on this fight, but I definitely agree with you. I like Munoz. I don't I don't think I haven't bet on Cruz in quite a while. I did think that he looked good versus Kenny, but it was definitely a close fight. I think Munoz is definitely a step above Kenny. I think just all the energy injuries and everything that Cruz has gone through is he's not the same fighter that he used to be. I think Munoz, he's going to leg kick him, he's going to be walking him down, he's going to pressure him. Um, Cruz is not going to have that wrestling in his back pocket here. Munoz is a very, very good defensive wrestler. I don't really think that Cruz is going to be able to get him down. Um, I was kind of looking at goes the distance. I know it's still minus 168 at a in a couple of spots.
I actually like that spot a lot.
Yeah, minus 168 in a couple of spots. It's up to minus 200 some places, but I don't even mind minus 200. I don't usually pay juice like at all um on anything like that really. But yeah, you can still get minus 168 on a FanDuel, and I think that's a very, very good spot. But yeah, I think Munoz takes it here. Um, so yeah, we move on. We got Josh Emmett taking on Dan Ige. What do you got here?
I don't have anything here. You know, I was thinking of playing Dan Ige, but I don't know, man. Josh Emmett, it's so damn hard.
Yep.
Um, Ige tends to get hit a lot. He tends to like to bite down on the mouthpiece and slug it out. Hopefully, he's a little smarter here and doesn't do that against Emmett because Emmett hits like a truck. Um, but like Ige is very durable. Like we see it in all of his fights. Like this guy's extremely durable. We saw him against the Korean Zombie. We saw him against Calvin Cater, who those are his two losses. I mean, he's lost to top level guys, right? Every time he steps down, he's got to win against Edson Barbosa in a really close fight. Fine. Gavin Tucker knocked him out with one punch. Um, you know, and I don't want to say Emmett is a step down, but obviously he's not on the level of Calvin Cater, I don't think. I think Calvin Cater is a better, more polished striker. And Ige was there boxing with this guy for 5 rounds. Like Ige has good hands, but I don't think this is a good spot. I think he should be mixing in takedowns here or trying to get takedowns here and kind of wearing on Emmett's gas tank to take away that power because I think Ige definitely has the better gas tank here. For me, it's just to stay away. I don't think there's enough here for me to bet one way or another. So I'm just gonna stay away. If anything, I would bet is Ige by decision, maybe plus like 275 range. But other than that, I'm gonna stay away.
Uh, fair. I like Emmett here. I think he's killing Ige. I haven't played it yet because the line keeps dropping. I have a price that I want to play it at, and it's trending towards that line. So we have a couple more days. So let's hope that Ige gets hit here. Yeah, I like Emmett here. I think he's one of the hardest hitters in the division. I think he's the better striker here. I know that Ige's boxing has improved. I know all the points that you're saying, but I do not like his striking defense at all. I think he gets cracked at least once here. Josh Emmett has the one of the highest knockdown rates in the UFC. It's pretty incredible. I believe he's knocked down at what was it, his last 6 opponents, um, which is pretty damn impressive. That Burgos fight was absolutely insane. One of my favorite fights to watch. I think that Ige is going to have a hard time taking down Emmett. Emmett is a pretty decent defensive wrestler here. So yeah, I'm going to sit on it. I was kind of looking at Emmett KO. I'd like it to be a little bit wider. I'm not. It's like plus 250. I'm like, I'm not a huge fan of that. But I'm going to monitor the money line. I do like Emmett here. I do think that he is one of the dark horses in that division for sure. So yeah, line monitor, and we'll see how that goes. So we move on. We have Rowland Paiva taking on Sean O'Malley. I have one unit on Paiva at plus 240. He was all the way up to plus 280, plus 275 some places. I wish I would have got him at that line. Yeah, I like Paiva at bantamweight. I think that it's his proper weight class. I think his cardio and durability is a lot better there. I think that O'Malley's going to struggle with the kicks here. Paiva throws a lot of kicks. O'Malley's very, very kickable. Pretty much every one of O'Malley's opponents has had success kicking him. And I'm still not convinced that he isn't fragile there. That Cheeto Vera fight was very, very interesting. And for as much shit as you can talk about Paiva, the guy is very, very tough. He's very, very durable. I think he has an advantage on the mat here. He's a solid grappler. Paiva is. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt. I believe O'Malley's still a purple belt. Um, and I know that Paiva doesn't really use his grappling much, but I do think that O'Malley's going to hit him in the face quite a bit. Um, Paiva is definitely hittable, and O'Malley throws high volume. But there an interesting stat popped up to me, and I was doing some research on this. Moutinho was able to land at almost 5 significant strikes per minute in their fight. Like that's pretty worrisome. I think Paiva is the better striker, especially if he's setting his strikes up with his kicks. Well, I think he's the better striker than obviously than Moutinho. I just think the line's off. I think Paiva is one of the better fighters that O'Malley's fought. You know, Pretty much every one of O'Malley's opponents besides Vera has had a losing record in the last 6 fights. Like, it's pretty pathetic. Almost all of them aren't even in the UFC anymore. I'm not going to count Moutinho in that because they just fought. But yeah, I think this is a way more difficult opponent than Moutinho. I think Paiva's a lot more live here than people are giving him credit for. Um, he won the Phillips fight. He lost Phillips fight. I won money on that fight. Um, you can say what you want, but he made that a dogfight. He made it an absolute dogfight, and I hope he makes it a dogfight here versus O'Malley. Um, we'll see how it goes, but I do think that Paiva is being undervalued here. So I have 1 unit on him at plus 240. What do you think?
Yeah, stay away again for me, man. I initially I thought I was gonna bet Paiva, but when I go back and watch, he's very, very hittable. Kyler Phillips landed a lot on him. I think Kyler Phillips hurt him really bad a couple of times in that fight.
First round, yeah.
And O'Malley is just so much of a better striker, man. He's fucking lethal, very long. That's another thing. The length might bother Paiva here. Like, he's never faced a guy this long, and the footwork, he has got really good footwork. Then the other mind-boggling thing is Paiva did not throw a single fucking leg kick last fight against Phillips, which is really awkward. But yeah, he did not throw any leg kicks in that fight. I have no idea why, because Phillips has a lot of movement, so I thought he was going to use that, but he just didn't. And just being very hittable against a guy like O'Malley worries me. Moutinho somehow survived, 1,000 strikes or whatever it was, like insane amount of strikes. And O'Malley, I guess people say he's fragile. The leg is there. I don't know, man. I don't want to base it off just like a couple of things here and there because
Yeah.
you know it's just jumping kind of to conclusions. Like, I know, Vera hit him and he kind of deaded his leg, and I know it's been hurt before, but you know again, it's only two. He's got 16 fights. It hasn't happened that often, or 15 fights. It hasn't happened that often. The guy only has one loss, and it's to Vera, and he was kind of piecing up Vera, to be honest, early
He
on.
was.
He got caught, right? So, I mean, he's the more skilled fighter. If you're going to ask me, is he the grittier fighter? Is he a tougher guy? Probably not. But as far as skills, he's got all the skills. He's got, his incredible striking and incredible length. He's got decent power, but it's just, when you constantly get touched up in the face, it's tough to fight, man. And he has that. He has those skills to touch you up all day. So I'm just gonna stay away. Paiva's a tough guy. So if you want to play O'Malley, maybe by decision, you turn that minus 300 into a plus 260. I don't think it's bad.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all, actually. Interesting. Yeah, no. Good points, good points. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, that's it. I mean, if you
Okay.
want to play, I think if you want to play O'Malley at plus 260 by decision, it's probably the spot. I don't want to lay, 330 with a guy that, if you told me this was minus 200 or, even minus 220, I'd be all over O'Malley, but I'm not laying minus. My only worry, to be honest, is that calf kick or whatever, because I don't think
Mhm.
Paiva's going to outstrike him. And Paiva doesn't grapple. He doesn't like to grapple much.
No, I
He
hope
just
he
likes
does
to sit
here.
there and strike. Yeah, so
All right, we move on. We've got Kai Kara France taking on Cody Garbrandt. I've got 1 unit on France. I believe I got plus 140, I think. Um yeah, I don't like this move down to flyweight for Garbrandt at this stage of his career. I know people are saying that he's small for bantamweight and all that, but I don't like the cut to 125, especially not against France. France has power in the division. We've we've seen Cody regress so significantly. I don't get how anyone could have like any sort of confidence in him here in this spot. Like he was so content to just sitting on the outside and trying to land that one haymaker versus Font. Like he had no idea what to do. Um, that was a pretty big eye opener for me. I know he's going to be bigger than France here, and he's probably the better technical striker here in general. But I don't see how you can play him here as a favorite with just how he's looked recently. I just can't. Very hesitant to pull the trigger. What if that happens again here? Like what if that happens again? We've seen him knocked out a couple of different times, and then he's dropping 10 more pounds to go to 125. That historically just does not really bode well for people at all. And I'm not a huge France guy. I've bet against him quite a bit, but I do think that he is live here in this spot. I just think we need some questions answered before we jump on the Cody train at 125 here. Um, so yeah, it's more of a fade on the Cody train for me, but I played France small at plus 140. What do you think?
yeah, I'm on the other end. I think it's a buy low spot, honestly, on Cody Garbrandt here. Um, you know, Kai Kara France is fine. He's decent. I mean, he's a good striker. He's from City Kickboxing. But Cody Garbrandt's going to be have a 4 inch height advantage here. Is going to be much bigger. I know the cut you're saying down. I mean, he looks really. When you watch his Instagram, he looks really really good, man. He might have been putting in the work. As far as his chin's concerned, we're talking about Pedro Munoz and TJ Dillashaw. Those guys hit much harder than Kai Kara France, and those guys are at 135. I think those guys can crack. Um, he fought Rob Font, 5 rounds, and Rob Font put it on him. The problem with that fight, I think, is the fact that Rob Font has a long reach. He's got like a 70, 72-inch reach.
Hmm.
He just didn't know how to fucking combat that reach. And Font throws a lot of volume, a lot of jabs. So, I don't think that's going to be a problem with Kai Kara France because he doesn't have the reach here. He doesn't have that where he can't get in the pocket or whatever against this guy because he's long. It's not going to happen here. So I think Garbrandt has the better power here. I think he's got the more like polished hands. So, yeah, I'm afraid that he's going to do that bullshit and not throw a lot of volume. But I don't think Kai Kara France is the guy, man. I think it's a big, big step down for him. And for Kai Kara France going from Bontarin to him, I think it's a big step up. So I think it's a buy low spot, to be honest. That's the main thing for me here.
Hmm.
And getting Cody Garbrandt at minus 135 against the guy in Kai Kara France, I put 2.7 units on it. I think it's a good spot for him.
Fair play, fair play. We'll see how it goes. So moving on here, we have Jeff Neal taking on Santiago Ponzinibbio. What do you got here?
Yeah, I actually have Pons here. All the shit that's been going on with
Yeah.
Jeff Neal. Um, it's a lot of distractions, man. Like, I mean, it's not easy to get arrested and all this other shit, a week and a half prior to your fight, and, Ponzinibbio looked really, really good last fight against, what's his name? Miguel Baeza. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, he lost the first round, but man, he looked, he came on and looked really, really good in that third. And Ponzinibbio, that you got to give him some time because that's his second fight in almost 3 years. The
Hmm.
guy had that, whatever disease or whatever he had that he was out for so long. And I think he's getting better and better now, getting back into himself. And you're talking about a guy getting back to himself who was, you know, up there in the top 10, top 5 guys. Everybody was talking about this guy up until he left. So Santiago Ponzinibbio, nasty kicks. I mean, Jeff Neal, he has very good hands, powerful guy, but we saw what Magny did to him. We saw what Thompson did to him. The guy's a really good chin, and I don't think Ponzinibbio is going to get him out of there. So maybe playing a something like Ponzinibbio by decision plus 275 is not terrible, but you know, honestly, betting him at just money line minus 124 range, I think is still good. I think he's going to out volume Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal doesn't throw a lot of volume, also, so Ponzinibbio is the better fighter to me overall everywhere. I mean,
Yep.
the only thing that I think Jeff Neal has over Ponzinibbio here is power, because I think Jeff Neal has a lot of fucking power. But yeah, I like Ponzinibbio.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I like Pons. I don't know what's been going on with Jeff Neal recently. Like, why are you drinking like a week before one of the biggest fights of your life? Like what are you doing? That show, like you said, that shows
Yeah, he was out.
clear.
I mean, 3 in the morning drinking.
Yeah,
It's some
that
bad
shows
bad
clear
signs. But
distractions. Yeah, clear distractions. And why are you getting outpaced at distance by Neil Magny? That's such a bad look. Such a bad look. You should not be getting outpaced by Neil Magny at distance. I don't like that here. Like you said, I do think Pons is the more dynamic striker. I think he is the better wrestler. I think he's going to have the volume edge here. But I played the over. I played the over 1.5. I played it at minus 150 for 1.5 units. I think that line's really, really weird. Both guys are really durable. I think if anyone's going to get the knockout, it's obviously going to be Jeff Neal. I think they could be tentative early. I just don't really understand that line. I thought that they were going to open it as the over 2.5, and I believe they closed that line on some books, and then just have the over 2.5 at plus. But yeah, I don't understand that line. I think it's a really weird line. So I played that, and then Pawns ended up getting up to minus 130. So I just stuck with my play on the over. You can still get that over 1.5 on some books. But yeah, I think Pons is going to be too much for him here. I think he's going to take over down the stretch. I definitely do not hate the Ponzinibbio decision, but I like the over personally. So we move on. We have Amanda Nunes taking on Juliana Pena. I'll go first. I have obviously no interest in betting this fight. Um, but I do think that Nunes is going to kill her. I think she's better everywhere. I think she's going to get Pena panic wrestling early. Um, I do think she has the better jujitsu. I think Pena's going to really, really struggle to take her down here. I don't think she's going to be able to control her. She's absolutely lost on the feet. I think this is just an absolute one-sided fight, in my opinion. Um, Granted, there's going to be a time when Nunes regresses and you get some wild line on Nunes. Like I think she should stay far away from Harrison. I don't know. I don't. That can't be at 135. That'd have to be at 145. There's no way Kayla could make 135. But I do think the regression's going to hit at some point. But I don't think Pena's the fighter to exploit that in her at all. I don't have a play on it, but I do think Amanda kills her. What do you think?
yeah, I mean, how can you bet this fight, right? It's
Yeah.
it's like crazy, but the one thing I did find is, like you mentioned, like Pena's gonna try to grapple, and which in turn is gonna give Amanda Nunez chances to get a submission,
Mm-hmm. Yes, it
and
will.
it's plus 420, man. Um, her KO line is minus 300 or 330, some insane line, but her sub line is plus 420, and I think she gets a chance, because Juliana Pena is gonna she's gonna have to try to grapple. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she's not gonna stand there with Amanda Nunez. So getting plus 420 is not the best, because I think she probably knocks her out. But I'm gonna maybe take a small poke at the plus 420 if I want any action on this fight. I don't have anything right now, but that's the only thing I can find that I would be willing to play.
Yeah, that's not bad. She's got 5 subs in her career, and they're going to be grappling. They're going to grapple heavy, like you said. It's going to give her opportunities to land submissions. That's for damn sure. I agree. All right, we're at an hour here, making pretty good time. We move on to the main event. Fantastic main event. We have Charles Oliveira taking on Dustin Poirier. What do you got here?
Yeah, I get 2 units on Charles Oliveira plus 138. And my main reasoning is Dustin Poirier's takedown defense is not very good. And if Oliveira gets it down, man, like he's a different animal down there. So, and the other thing we've seen, you know, Dustin Poirier gets submitted. I think he's been submitted like 3 or 4 times in his career, and I want to go out on a limb and say he's going to be facing the best submission guy in his whole career. So, he beat McGregor twice in a row, but is that very impressive? Honestly, not really, because I think McGregor's one-dimensional. He doesn't give anything in the ground game, so there's no threat of takedowns. There's no threat of any of that. On the other hand, Charles Oliveira has a threat with his hands because he's a powerful striker, good kicking game, very, very good grappling. So the guy is dangerous everywhere, man, and he's only getting better. It's amazing. Like the guy's getting better. The one thing I will say is his chin is not the best. And people always used to say that, the guy gives up when he gets hurt. But we saw a different guy against the Chandler fight, man.
He
He was
did.
hurt bad, and he came back and put it on Chandler. So the other thing I do want to say is Chandler hits much harder than Poirier does. Like the guy hits like a truck.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he took it and he got hurt and he took it and came back. So for me, how I played this fight is I think Oliveira is going to have the advantage early. And, I like Oliveira at +1 at plus money for 2 units, like I said. I might also play something like round 2 or round 3 with Oliveira. But I also do have Poirier 4-5 decision at +300.
Ooh, that's not bad. That's
Yeah.
not bad at all. I wish I had access to that.
I just think the later the fight goes, the more it favors Poirier.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, I like Poirier here, like to win the fight personally, but this line is getting kind of wild. Like you're getting plus 150 on 5 dimes right now. If that line keeps creeping up, like that might be a value play for me. We'll monitor it and see, but yeah, I like Poirier here. I think he's the better boxer. 100% the better striker. He's got better footwork, solid movement. I do worry early because Charles is so explosive. He's definitely the best grappler that Poirier's faced. I do think he can get him down early and put him in some bad positions, but I do think that Poirier is a competent grappler. Getting finished by Khabib, that's nothing to be ashamed of at all. Poirier's a black belt himself. I know that there's a levels game, but I do think that Poirier can stay can stay out of danger here. I really do. I do think as the fight extends, this fight favors Poirier 100%. And he's got the better chin. He's got a very, very good chin. He went to war with Dan Hooker. That was a fucking insane fight. Hooker put on a fucking wild pace in that fight. He went to war with Justin Gaethje both times. He went to war with Eddie Alvarez. Like this dude's been in some fucking insane fights, like some very, very entertaining fights. So I think he can withstand the Charles Oliveira, brawl that Charles is going to bring to him early. I really do, and I think he's going to because we've seen him do that before, and we've seen Charles quit. I know that this might be a new Charles that we're seeing. Last fight really was very, very impressive. And I had Charles there, and that was that was awesome. I was very happy to catch that bet. But I do think that Poirier is just all around the better fighter here. And I think he gets the job done. But like I said, if you're gonna get Oliveira, if you're gonna give me plus 170, plus 175 on Oliveira, something crazy like that, like I'll definitely take a little
It,
I'll take a little bit.
it's not getting that big. Come on,
I
he's
don't
not
know,
getting to
man.
minus 200.
He's plus 150.
No, it plus 150. Really?
Yeah, on 5 dimes right now.
Mine it says 140 for me, but yeah, I mean, I don't think he gets to plus 200. Or
No,
I'm
I said
sorry,
plus
plus
one
one.
seven. Yeah,
No,
I
no,
mean
plus
he might
170.
not. Yeah,
I
he
don't think
might
he gets
not.
that high because then Poirier would have to hit like minus 200 range.
Yeah,
So I don't think it's going to get that high. If anything, I think this line might come down, to be honest. But we'll see.
I was thinking it would. To be honest with you, I was thinking it would come down. Um, so that's why I was surprised when I saw that. But
I think it's
yeah,
going to be like early Oliveira, and then like later on it goes. I think Poirier is just going to be pulling away maybe down the stretch. But I mean, it's not far fetched to see like Oliveira maybe win a decision. Honestly, it's not like if he can
no,
get some
looks
takedowns
like they're putting
early.
in work at his camp. They're putting in work. Like
I
they're
mean,
working their fucking asses off.
yeah, I mean
So
he's improving, dude. Even though the
very
guy
much
is
improving.
he's 32 years old, but like we saw it, and like I said, we saw it in his last fight against Chandler. Like I always said, this guy like gives up, like he doesn't have heart because you see too much in his fights, but might be I mean, maybe it's something came out of him and he's like different now. Like he's like no more giving up, or I got the gold now and I'm gonna
Yeah.
fucking
I
I don't
love
know.
both guys. This
I do
I don't
too.
know. I
I do.
love Oliveira, man. He's such a good guy, dude.
Yeah, they're
He's
both good
class
guys,
act. And I
honestly.
love Dustin, dude. Dustin's fantastic. He's great,
They're
like
both good guys. So
yeah.
one of them has to lose.
Yeah, one of them it's going to be a fucking great main event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm not going to be watching it live unfortunately. I'm going to a show.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not my it's
It's not your call.
yeah, but yeah, it's going to be great. I'll be on my phone in the venue or whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna wrap this up. We're at a 1 hour and 7 minutes. My name's Quinn. You can talk to me on Twitter at Orthodox 1993. I'm very active on there. You can find my BetMMA page. It's betmma.tips/qpesh666. And Mike, can you want to tell them where you can find him and your BetMMA?
Yeah. You can find me at narcocop on Twitter. I have my own YouTube channel, Narcocop MMA. I have the Lambeau Place podcast. It's tomorrow at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm usually on there with Tajik Bey. And my bet MMA tips is Narcocop MMA bets. Yeah, that's about it. I'm up 26 units on the year.
Good for you.
Had a terrible fucking week last week, down 11.6 units,
I
which
actually
was
did really well between
yeah, which
Bellator and
was I had
UFC.
a
So
terrible. You know what? I had a terrible week, and I deserve it because I didn't put the tape study in last week, and I was like so damn busy. I didn't even do.
yep.
I just went off bullshit, and I deserve to lose because I told myself I'm not going to bet anything because I didn't, and then all of a sudden I put in all these stupid bets, which whatever, it happens.
We move on. We learn and we move on.
Yep.
This whole entire thing, it's the long game.
Yep.
People can talk shit about your record all you want, but you're coming here to watch our analysis, and we're the ones putting in the work. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up. Good luck on all your bets.
Take
Have
care,
a good
man.
night,
Good
Mike.
luck, and good luck to everybody in chat.
See you guys later.
Take care.